Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm so excited to bring you guys another episode of 7 Levels with Lion. Welcome to the show. My name is Lionheart, you guys can call me Lion, and I'm really excited that we're just cranking out these episodes like left and right. We've had a lot of great stuff, and we've already interviewed a lot of great people. I hope you guys check out last week's episode with Quick and the week before that with Izzy. And all the other episodes too. They're all I truly believe if you aren't listening to the things that these friends of mine have to say, you're missing out on some really cool insight. But I also have to thank you guys. The only way some of these lines of communication is opening up because you guys keep telling me who you would like to hear on this stuff. Keep that up. Keep letting me know. Put it in the comments, put it in the Discord, put it in Twitch Live. If you have someone that you think would be really awesome in this interview, let me know so I can reach out to them. That'd be great. And without further ado, I would love to introduce our guest this week. A friend of mine. I think we've known each other for about a year now. A real good guy. I can't wait to have a conversation with him. This is Metalfear4. Metalfear, welcome to the show. How you doing, bud?
Good day. How you doing? I just saw my cat jump up. That's my cat. What an intro.
That's actually fine. So this would be the third animal guest star in all of our shows. So
really?
Yeah, it's fitting the theme so far. It's great. It's great.
The other one was meowing before, so she'll come in, I'm sure.
Oh, it's fine. I love animals, so we're good. But Metalfear, go ahead and take a second, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Metal. I call myself the shiny hunter from Down Under, so I'm all about shiny hunting Pokemon. I'm also on YouTube and TikTok and all the socials as well, but my content kind of changes a little bit on the others. So a lot of shiny hunting on Twitch, but on YouTube I have a lot of educational content, mainly around Pokemon. And on TikTok I have a lot of Twitch-related content, so Twitch tips, Twitch news, that sort of stuff as well. So just to sort of cover a broad range of topics, I guess, really. But yeah, mainly all about that Pokemon.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Okay, so something really cool that you've already mentioned that I was gonna kind of question you about it anyways, just to get to know, help everyone get to know you a little bit more. You are actually very versatile in your content. Yeah, like you are like everywhere. You pop up, like I'm scrolling through TikTok. I'm not even in the like in the thing I follow, which I do follow you, but it's more of like my feed, and you're in there like all the time.
The For You page, yeah.
And then on YouTube, you're cranking it out. On Twitter, you have a presence. Like, I think out of a lot of our stream friends, I think it really feels like you're like doing the most. Do you feel like that's really a goal of yours or an objective?
I think that once I find something I really like, I definitely sort of put 110% into it. And at the moment, I suppose that's content. So, I'm always putting it out there. It's always on the mind. I've seen a meme. It's like, oh, I hate the 9-to-5 office job, so I became a streamer. So now I work 24/7. And that's kind of what it's like. Even if you're not making something, it's always on the mind. Or I'm always like, even if I'm in bed going through Twitter, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Take a screenshot of that tweet. I'll make a TikTok out of it later. Or I'll talk about that on stream or something like that. Like I keep a notepad for like stream topics. So like if I'm in stream and things are quietening down a little bit or the conversation's kind of ending, we don't want there to just be silence for a couple of minutes. So I'm like, okay, this is a couple of topics I can talk about. So I'm always looking for ways to improve my content and to keep things engaging. But I do think I'm pretty hardworking with everything. And once I set my mind to something, I go pretty ham.
I would agree. I think you're a very hard worker. Do you think, I mean, this might be a weird question to like follow up on that, but do you think, I think people have a misunderstanding about the stream work ethic and kind of like you said, 24/7. How often do you feel like you succeed in your efforts?
Ooh, I'm not sure. Like sometimes, you spend ages making a TikTok or a YouTube short or some kind of short form content, and you're like, oh, this is going to be really good. And then it gets 30 views, or, it doesn't get a lot, like, and then you make another YouTube short and you just like half-ass it kind of thing, and it gets 7,000 views, which I got the other day. I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like sometimes it's just hit or miss, and I guess that's what it is. And I've been trying to sort of change the way I think about it. Instead of like, I put this time into this and this is how it went, and this time into this and this is how it went. I try to say overall, this is how much I'm doing. So it's more like a broader picture kind of thing, I guess. So then I'm not so hard on myself if a TikTok doesn't do well, or a YouTube short, or even just like a YouTube video where I'm like, I think this will do really well and it just doesn't. And not to be like, oh, really down on myself about that, but more so all the work I'm putting into all my content, this is how it's going, kind of thing. And, you know, some things are going to hit and some things aren't. And that's just the way it is.
Just got to take it the way it is. Yep.
That's like tough. Algorithms are going to do their thing. And I don't have control over that. I can just put my stuff out there and hope it hits.
Which is almost like, you know, back to how often you're putting it out there and how hard you're trying to put it out there. It's really, I mean, you can only do as much as you can. You know, you just got to keep putting it out there because something's going to get picked up. But if you're like doing the bare minimum, you probably not going to get picked up. But
and I think I put a lot out there, but there's still so much more that I'd like to do. There's still 20 ideas that I've got written down that I would love to do one day that I just don't have the time to do, because I do work full time as well. So juggling everything can be hard. And, you know, I just have all these ideas that I'd love to get to one day, and just got to find the time for it. That's all.
Yeah. We're actually going to talk about if it's okay with you, we're going to talk about your full-time job later on and some of the other questions. Is that cool? All right, sweet. So I would ask you here because it's a good segue, but I'm saving it for some of the deep questions. So, okay. But what we're really here to do is play 7 levels. So I'm going to take a second and explain the rules just so we know what's happening. It's real simple, but basically the idea is I think Twitch chat isn't always, and while we're streaming, isn't always the best time to really expand on a whole bunch of these thoughts that we have, because often the pace of the things, you got to keep it moving, you got to keep it going. You know, whether you're playing Unite or whether you're shiny hunting, whether, you know, some person might be trying to be deep with you in chat, but then the next person comes in and just asks you how your day is, and it's kind of like, it's hard to just like, you know, really expound upon these like deep thoughts that we have about things. So I think the value of 7 levels that it helps our communities learn about us a little bit more in ways that they might miss out on in a stream chat. So what happens is I'm going to ask you 7 questions, and they're going to get a little bit deeper as they go. And the first one's going to be real shallow and not very complex at all. And the only goal at the end of the day is that we just have a really good conversation. So, Metalfear, you ready for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, sweet. Level 1. Your first question is, how would you describe your style?
What? That's level 1? I'm saying like my favorite color and stuff like that. Well, I mean,
okay,
my style.
So you like in chat, you know, we see you from, you know, like the chest up, but like if you're walking around, like what kind of clothes do you like to wear? That's not too deep. Come on, you got.
Okay, so more of a physical style. Okay.
Yeah. No, like real simple.
Okay. Yeah. When I was younger in like high school and stuff like that, I was the emo kind of kid. I had the black clothes, and you know, I went to too many concerts of My Chemical Romance and The Used.
I love My Chemical Romance.
All of them. So that was my first concert, My Chem. I loved it. Didn't have the black hair. I have never dyed my hair, but I had the long hair, the fringe, all that sort of stuff. I've got a few piercings. You can't really see them now because of my headphones, but I've got a few earrings and stuff like that. Okay. I used to have my lip pierced as well. I don't know if you can really see, but I've still got the scar there, that sort of thing. And yeah, just sort of that style. I've actually got the tats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that my style? I guess.
We said that's what it used to be, but like, I mean, is that what you wear these days?
I still like that style. I still like that style.
Okay.
I know that sort of, I still like that sort of music as well. Like I'm into, you know, the hard rock, a bit of the pop punk sort of, but if I hear a bit of screamo and stuff that comes on my old school music, then I'll still jam along to it.
I actually just showed my roommate this year that Black Parade album, and because he didn't know about it. So he knew about obviously the Black Parade song, like everyone knows that song, but I literally was like, no, you got to listen to the whole album, dude. But like by the time you get to Black Parade, you're like emotional, like it's like it's a ride, that album. If anyone watching this video hasn't listen to that album. You gotta go listen to that album. Start to finish.
I was actually just talking to my wife yesterday because one of my favorite bands, Mayday Parade. I don't know if you know them. They're an American band. They're coming to Australia next year. She's like, oh, I've got to get tickets to it. And I'm like, shit, we're going to be like 30-year-olds with a bunch of like 18-year-olds in the mosh pit. But dude, I love it. I still love it.
Mayday Parade, Jamie All Over. It's probably my favorite song. I love Jamie All Over.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. That's my favorite band of all time.
Oh, really? Oh, man. So during COVID, I went through like a running phase. I was like running outside a lot. And I was like listening to some of the stuff. A song popped up that like I knew since I was a kid, but it's the weirdest thing. It hit me as an adult way deeper. I think it's called Stay. Stay? Is that the one where he's like,
I love that song.
Telling a story.
I just got shivers. I'm not even I just got shivers by you saying it.
Like I was like running. I was like starting to like tear up a little bit. I was like thinking about my like fiance, like, you know, like I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like, wow.
If you see the film clip for like that as well, it's definitely like that.
Yeah, that's a great band. I love that. I love that band.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
Man, I'm coming to Australia. We're gonna go to a concert together or something. That'd be great.
We're already looking at tickets because last time they came to Australia, obviously before COVID and stuff, it sold out like instantly, and I was regretted it so much. I was like, that there's no way. As soon as it comes out, I'm buying tickets to it.
That's a good play right there for sure. Well, that's level 1. Not too bad, right? You feeling all right? You good?
Yeah, it's all good.
Congratulations. Okay, level 2. Level 2. Okay. I mean, this one is kind of already present in your room, but it is well, maybe it's not present. I don't know. Tell me about your favorite pet that you've ever had.
So I actually haven't had all that many pets. I've got 2 cats now. So that's Scout and Echo is my black cat. But before these 2 cats, I've only ever had one, which was another cat called Misty, actually. Not after Misty from Pokemon, because it was my sister's and they had it. But my sister is like 14 years older than me. So she had the cat before I was even born. And we have a different dad. So she got the cat when my mum was in between marriages before I was born. And the cat, when they had the cat and my mum got with my dad was like, okay, as soon as this cat dies, not having any more pets. My dad didn't like pets or animals at all. And that cat ended up to be 21 years old. So it lasted forever. It was very, very old for cats. And then after that passed away, then we just didn't have any more animals. My dad was not a fan of pets at all. When he was younger, he had birds. So he said, you know, I don't want any pets, but if we got someone, we'd get a bird. And it just didn't end up happening. And my wife, Ash, is a big cat lover as well. We always said whenever we moved out, we'll get cats straight away because, you know, I was like every day asking my mum and my dad if I can get a pet, if I can get a cat, if I can get a cat. Because I'm a massive animal lover. Like I'm a teacher. And if I wasn't a teacher, I'd definitely be working with animals. I'm a huge animal lover. You know, there's one stage I wanted to be a vet, but I'm not smart enough for that. But yeah, I do love cats and I love dogs as well. Like I don't say I'm a cat or a dog person, but I have cats because just our lifestyle at the moment is a bit more practical because we're both full-time and I would feel bad if we had a dog at home getting bored all day, but cats just take care of themselves and we've got 2 of them, so they have each other as well.
Yeah, they can really just do their own thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm jealous of my sister and my nieces because they have like 3 cats and dog and rats and birds and fish and like they've got a whole fucking menagerie at their house. But yeah, we just have the 2 cats.
Well, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, especially with the rig you got set up back there. If I was your cat, I feel like I wouldn't be bored. I feel like I'd be pretty content having all that cool
We've got
stuff.
Another big cat tower out in the other room as well. It's just they usually like to hang out where we are. So if I'm in this room, they're going to hang out here. So we brought one of the towers in here because that's where we usually are. Like even when I'm not streaming, I'm often here anyway. And so is my wife. She's always on the computer. Just yeah.
That's kind of like the only way cats will really tell you they love you is if they put up with you in the same room, right? Like those,
exactly.
Well, awesome. That's level 2. Good job. Love it. I also love it. I mean, animals are just great. You know, I think you can tell a lot about a person based off of their view of animals in the world and kind of like not only dealing with like their own self-worth, but also like their just like perspective on like what's around them. So I think it's like weird when you just like see someone who just like doesn't respect nature and stuff like that. It's just like, how can you not? But you know, I guess
pisses me off.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Like, to each their own, I guess. But like, I just don't get it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, nice job. Okay, that is level 2. Congratulations. So level 3, we're gonna start getting a little bit deeper here. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm glad you just mentioned it, so I don't have to like awkwardly segue into it. But yeah, you mentioned you are a teacher, so just some before I ask the question, maybe a little bit of context. How long have you been a teacher? What level do you teach?
So I think I've been teaching 8 or 9 years now.
Wow.
So it changes each year. This year I've got grade 1s and 2s, so it's like 6 and 7-year-olds. Last year I had 12-year-olds. So it changes all
That's
over
a big difference.
the place. Yeah, yeah. So I've taught all over pretty much. Yeah. My first year of teaching, I was actually a specialist teacher. I taught a class called Digitech, like digital technology. So I taught from prep to grade 6 in the 1 year. Which is interesting because when you've got 5-year-olds on a computer for the first time on a desktop, just iPads, so they're literally like putting their fingerprints all over the screens because they don't know that it's not touchscreen. And then with the older kids, you can do some really cool stuff. We'll do like 3D modeling and stuff like that. So that was cool. But I only did that for the 1 year, and then I prefer to have my own grade because you can form better relationships with the kids when it's your own grade.
Yeah. See, I never thought about that. Kids are coming in knowing how to use iPads before they know computers.
Yeah,
that is so
100%.
Strange.
And you put a mouse and a keyboard in front of them, they don't know what to do.
Like, what does all this do? Wow, interesting. Yeah. Well, okay. So your question for level 3 is, what is something about teaching that transcends the like no matter who you're teaching, this thing is something that needs to be taught?
I think it's not so much in primary school, but I think definitely in high school, they need to have more real world experiences. Things like how to do your taxes and, how to deal with mental health struggles and stuff like that. That I know I was in high school a long time ago, but I think that's something that they need to prepare for, not just preparing for an exam, if that makes sense. So stuff that they can use in the real world. And sometimes you see it mainly with the older kids I've taught. It's sort of like you'll give them some work and they're like, when am I ever going to use this? Yeah. And it's like, well, in high school you might need it, and then in high school they're saying, well, in university you might need it, but like I don't know, kids just need to learn how to survive and how to make their life easier. It's not all about just doing the exam and doing the test. And I've never been someone that teaches to the test. So we have something in Australia called NAPLAN, which is just all over Australia. When kids are in grade 3, 5, 7, they do a test. And it's just like a massive standardized test just to see, okay, which schools are doing well, which states of the country doing well, that kind of thing. And it's just a big indicator of where Australia's education is as a whole. And I know there's some schools that will teach to the test and say, oh, this is what they were asking in last year's test. Let's teach to that just to get a good score. And I've never believed that that's the right way to teach someone, because that's, they do the exam and then that's it. And that's just not useful for life. And I'd rather teach them life skills or things that they're going to experience, as they get older.
Yeah. So I'm from Oklahoma, and basically when you look at like a lot of the stats between America already being so low on the education poll, and then Oklahoma is like the lowest in America on the education poll, like public schools at least. Private schools are fine.
Yeah.
But it's weird to think about, like, I graduated from the lowest level of school essentially in the world, like when it comes down to public schooling. And so when I was in 6th grade, I actually remember we introduced it was called No Child Left Behind, and that's the same thing as what you're talking about, the standardized testing here in Oklahoma. And I remember we took the first one, and it was only for one subject, and each year they added a new subject to it because they wanted to know. But like you said, teachers started teaching to that thing, because it I just remember learning about it more and more, and because some teachers were really honest about it and some would not tell you anything about it. But like basically, like the teachers had incentives if like a percentile of their class passed the standardized testing kind of thing, and like so everything became teach the test, teach the test, and it actually made like public school even lower. Like our ratings fell even lower. Like we weren't always the bottom, but once they started doing that, we quickly like got to the bottom. And man, what a world. I feel lucky. I had 2 parents at home helping, and they were really good at at helping. So I made it. I had straight A's all the way through school until college. I didn't get my first B until college, um, and I was like sleeping in all my classes. I was like playing Call of Duty all night. But it's just like, 'cause at the end of the day, I knew teachers were just gonna like give me the answers because they wanted us to pass these tests, and like now I feel
they
like
want a good score.
right, and now I feel like a complete brick in life sometimes. I'm like,
Not at all.
like I got
I know what you mean though. Like a lot of schools here will use that sort of as advertising as well, saying, "Oh, you should bring your kids to our school because we got good scores, the standardized testing," and a parent's going to see that and see a school up the road that has a lower score, and you're going to choose the one that's high because you think that's where the better teachers are or the better facilities or whatever it is. And that's just not true. But that's what people, you can't help but see a higher score and say, okay, that's a better school.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
It really is. It really is. Especially, if we really did care about our future, we would be doing things a little bit differently, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I got some follow-ups about that though. So do your students, have any of them found out you're a streamer?
Yes, they have. Not in my current grade because I only teach the little kids. Like they have no idea. But kids that I've taught in the past have, yes. And some of the older kids that are in grade 6, they're like, that 12, 13-year-old have found it before as well. And it's kind of awkward. Like it's kind of, while we've been doing COVID and we've been on and off site, and being in Melbourne actually is the most lockdown country in the world over COVID. We've had what was like 270 days of lockdown or something like that. So we've been in and out of school and remote learning and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, some of the kids have found me, and there's been a few in chat that have told me who they are, so quickly they get banned. And I said, as soon as they graduate and go to high school, I'm not their teacher anymore. I'll unban them if they want. And a couple have asked in the past. But even just following, Twitch rules, you have to be over 13 to have an account anyway. Right. And I know some of these people don't.
Right.
But I can't stop them from watching it. And if they watch it, that's fine. I'm definitely not a family-friendly streamer, and I've told that to them and they know. But that's not on me. That's on their parents to monitor what they're doing at home. And if they're watching me, or if they're watching anybody that's, not age appropriate, that's on them. That's not on me. And there's been a couple of awkward conversations, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I've told my principal that I stream. She didn't really understand it though, because she's not, she's obviously of the older generation. But I said, this is what I do. And she's like, okay, like she doesn't care.
So that kind of segues. Yeah, it's a good segue into my other follow up for that is, because in Oklahoma, one of the problems is that parents don't help with schoolwork anymore. On a large front, it's and especially through Corona, it was like that was like the thing that that was the trial that was gonna make it to let like which families were actually helping their kids or not. Because if even if even in COVID this kid was still failing, that meant zero help at home, right? Because you were home all the time and you still didn't have a parent to help teach you. Whether they were qualified to or not is a different question. But is that a big concern in Australia as well?
Well, it depends a lot on the age. So last year when we did remote learning and I had the 12-year-olds, it was very different to how it was this year when I've got the 6 and 7-year-olds. So last year, a lot of the parents would still be working, or they'll do their own thing and just say, okay, my kid's old enough to their own devices, but they don't have that self-motivation at that age. Or most of them anyway, to I need to be doing my work, so I'm going to do it. They'll come in for the lessons and then leave and just not do the work. But whereas the kids now that I've got are a lot younger, that they still have that passion, I guess, for education, and they like learning new things, and it's fun, and it's they're on the iPad and they're watching their teacher, and it's a bit of a novelty. But also in saying that, a lot of them still need help to log on to the classes, so their parents are there, so the parents can help them and monitor them, make sure that they're doing their work. So it's very interesting as they get older. The parents sort of think they're okay, and that's actually when they need the most help because they don't have that self-motivation.
Yeah. That's so curious. I've seen that happen. Now that you say it, you can literally see they hit an age and all of a sudden they just kind of don't care about the process necessarily. You have to convince them, right? It's like almost
Yeah.
you have to trick them into like learning almost. It's
Yeah, and
kinda
and when they're older, like they can get distracted so much easier because they do know what they're doing, and they have they're on Discord and they have their games and whatever it is. That's very easy to get distracted. And I'm the same. Like if I'm working from home, it's so easy to just open up Twitter or something like that. When my lesson's finished or something like that.
Yeah.
But when I'm at school, I'm just 100% in the zone. This is what I'm doing, and if I finish my classes, I'm preparing for the next one and doing that sort of stuff. It's very easy to get distracted when you're at home in your own environment. And even there's a lot of colleagues of mine that will take their laptop home and finish their planning at home and stuff like that. But I'm someone that if I'm at school, I will stay at school until it's finished. So with reports and that sort of stuff, which take a long time, I will stay late at school to finish it. So then I know as soon as I get in my car and I get home, I can forget about that. I can just, you know what I mean? Like rather than having it hanging over you, like, oh, I'm at home, but I have to get this other stuff done.
Yeah.
So I'm someone that's like, if I'm in school, I'm doing school. If I'm at home, I'm free time or stream or whatever it is.
Well, cool. That actually segues into level 4 really well. So congratulations, you that was level 3. How you feeling so far? Doing all right?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good.
Good.
This has already been really great conversation. I mean, it's so easy because you're like a world away, so it's like there's so much. I already feel like automatically there's so much to like knowledge to glean off of you. But level 4 is actually about what you were just talking about. And so how do you compartmentalize? How do you separate? How do you deal with the fact like because I think streaming and gaming and marriage and family and school, like I don't know about you, but lately I've been having to cut things here and there, and it doesn't feel good to have to do that. How do you approach prioritizing the things? What do you do?
I do think it's very hard, and I know because I'm sort of on the Twitch scene on TikTok, I guess, and I see a lot of stream related TikToks. A lot of people struggle with working full time, but having a schedule on Twitch and making content, and there's so much stuff to do without any time to do it. But my number one priority is my job. That's my full-time job. My career as a teacher. That's, what pays the bills, that sort of thing. So that's always going to be priority number one. And if the situation is that I have to finish this plan for tomorrow's lesson, or I have to make my video, which I would schedule tomorrow, or whatever it is, teaching is going to win out all the time because that's my full-time job. And I don't think it would be fair to me or my team at school as well if I prioritize streaming over that, because streaming is my thing and my thing alone. And I have a team that I work with and I can't let them down. So that's always going to take priority. But I've noticed that when I'm at home, when I can switch off from teaching, as we were saying before, I'm always thinking about content. I'm always thinking about, what Twitch news is coming up that I can make a TikTok of, or what new news is coming in Pokemon, or there's a new trailer that's coming up for one of the new games or something like that. And how can I always make that into content, or how can I talk about it on stream or something like that? So it does take up a lot of your brain. And I know it's hard to switch off from that as well. And even like when Ash and I got married and we went on our honeymoon, and just to switch off, I was like, okay, for 3 weeks, I'm not even going to worry about anything. And it's so hard to do that. I'm always thinking like, how can I improve what I'm doing? Because I am so passionate about it and I do want to always improve. And I think if I'm too relaxed on it, then things are going to drop off, and I think they would deservedly do that. So I'm always trying to think about it. But then that leaves not much free time for myself as well. So people ask me on stream all the time, I was like, what other games do you play other than Pokemon? I was like, well, that's 99% of the games that I'm playing, because if I'm not playing Pokemon and I'm not streaming, then I'm making content for Pokemon. I'm making content for something else. And, I do play a couple of other games like Fortnite or Pokemon Unite, or been playing a bit of Tetris 99 lately. But that's, I don't have as much time for that, but that's what I've chosen to do. Like I could do that if I wanted to. But I enjoy making content, and I enjoy sort of being on top of that, if that makes sense as well. Like if I go, a couple of weeks without making a YouTube video, I'm going to feel guilty, but I feel like that part will be missing because I feel that's what I do now. I don't know. Does that sound right?
Oh, no, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I have a lot of follow up for that. So like, So you said teaching's number one, right? That priority.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you're number two, do you label yourself as a gamer or a content creator?
Content creator.
And then
Definitely
three
content creator.
is three even gamer or is it something else? Like,
I think it is because I'm still very interested. I'm always following the new games, and yeah, I'm definitely a gamer. It's definitely what I enjoy to do. And when I have more time, then I play games and that sort of thing as well. I want to get the new Mario Party, for example, and I'm always playing Pokemon Go. Like, there's a lot of other things that I'm doing as well.
yeah, aren't you max level in Pokemon Go?
45, I am.
Dang, that's wild.
Yeah, and I haven't been playing it a lot lately. I've definitely dropped off quite a bit on it, but I think a few people have. I think it's just getting stale to some people.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm always worried about, because you hear a lot about people burning out. All they're doing is just content. And I don't feel like I've been burning out at all, even though I do a lot. Like every now and then I'll try, like, take a day or two off and, watch a movie and, hang out. Because I do, especially when I started content creation, I had a conversation with the wife and said, I don't want to give up all my time for content because she's still a priority as well. And I want to spend time with her and the family and all those sorts of things. And I think I'm just good at planning, I guess. So I'm like, we have a date night every whatever it is, and we have time with our family and stuff like that. And if I know that stuff's coming up, I'm like, well, I've got a YouTube video that I want to schedule for here. And it's just all planning and organization. And I think if you're good at organization, then you can do all that and not get burnt out and still have time for yourself as well.
For sure.
And have time for the things that you do. Like I work out 3 times a week, and I exercise and take care of myself and all that sort of stuff as well. It's just sort of planning it all, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I think that burnout.
Man, so that is not in my gifting at all. Like planning and stuff like that, not in my gifting. So yeah, I think that's why I end up having to cut things and stuff like that. But yeah, back to that follow up though. So like if it's teacher, content, and then like gamer, like maybe like gamer. And
I would even say like family, including wife, and then gaming. Yeah, it's like at the bottom.
Right, and I'm sure if like family actually almost has like its asterisk, like it's like over here, but in the tier of like your duties, those are like your like
yeah. Obviously, family's number one. That's not like I'm saying. I was like, I got a stream, so sorry.
Yeah, ashes over there peeking over the chair. Like, what do you mean? But I'm gonna pose an interesting question. If you don't want to answer, obviously we'll cut it or whatever. But would you choose to get a promotion teaching or get a promotion as a content creator?
Content creator.
So
where I am like now for the teaching scale, your years of experiences determines how much you get paid. And then there's like a jump to what's called a leading teacher. And then you go to, that's sort of in the realm of leadership where you're assistant principal kind of thing. And I've never had any intention to be a leading teacher or within leadership, because then you're working at a desk and you're doing the 9 to 5 at the desk. So our leading teachers they're hardly ever in the classrooms kind of thing. So you don't have that relationship with the kids. You're not teaching anymore. You're now planning and you're doing admin stuff. And, it's like running a company. Like a lot of people say the principals are, they're CEOs. They're not working with kids. The whole reason I became a teacher was to work with kids.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. So you are where you want to be as a teacher. You're doing it.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yep.
So how far would you need your community to grow for you? I mean, obviously there's like a monetary staple, which you don't need to talk about that. Yeah. But like, what do you imagine that is? If you could like kind of scheme it out, what would your content look like if all of a sudden you were to quit teaching?
It would definitely do a lot more. Like I would love to do that. I would love to focus on my content full time. Obviously the money is the thing though. And someone asked me, because I'm at that cusp of getting close to Twitch partner at the moment. Someone asked me, he's like, oh, if you get partner, will you quit teaching? I was like, well, that doesn't change anything. That doesn't change the money. So, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And, I've seen communities that are quite small, but the community that they have is people that give subs all the time and donate heaps and stuff like that. And, Nigerian princes and stuff like that. But then you see giant communities that are people that just sit and watch, and that person doesn't get as much money. So I don't think it's necessarily a numbers game in terms of how big the community is. But what I try to do is I try to become less reliant on the generosity of my viewers. That's why I'm reaching into sponsors, and I'm trying to do YouTube videos, and I'm trying to do a whole range of different things that I can get income from, and to diversify my income so it's not just coming from the generosity of people. And I think that's really important. There's a lot of people that rely on just people gifting subs or donating or whatever like that. But if I'm making money on YouTube or on sponsors or stuff like that, then other people are paying me, not my viewers, and they can just sit back and watch it and don't have to worry about that sort of thing. It's the dream.
Yeah, and again, congrats on G Fuel. I guess that's awesome. So
thank you. Yeah,
I'm sure it's the first of many to come, and you do a great job. So
it's not the first. I'm also sponsored by the Udi as well. So G Fuel's the second one.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dang, I don't know why I completely spaced on that. My bad, man. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is a whole lot of content or context around like teaching that I'm gonna make, and I think that'll be really important for people to understand and learn through. But congratulations, man! That's the halfway mark. You made it through. Like that's
thank you.
That's level 4. We got 3 more questions for you. How are you feeling? You doing okay? Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yes.
Sweet.
Oh, good.
Good. 5th level. Is there a goal that was important to you before streaming that you realize you've had to put aside?
Like a real life goal?
Yeah.
I don't think so. So like as I just said, like I reached where I wanted to reach with teacher, and I was just, when that was my job, that's what I was doing. I didn't really have those sort of real life goals. Like I've got things like, I want to pay off the mortgage of the house, and before streaming, like I wanted to get married and that sort of stuff, and just be happy, I guess. But I think that's one of the reasons why I really there she goes. That's one of the reasons why I do love Twitch and content creating, because there are goals that I'm always reaching towards. There's always different things. Like at the moment, Twitch partner is very close, but even just reaching goals on YouTube and different, like there's always something to reach for and something to strive for. And I think that gives a lot of fulfillment in being able to reach those. Whereas in real life, I didn't really have like this is my big goal kind of thing. Like every day I wanted to work with the kids and help them improve and help them learn. But that's not really like a big overall goal. That's just every day, this is what I was doing kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, yeah.
So I didn't really have like a big goal or a big aspiration. I didn't want to, become a principal. I didn't want to make millions of dollars by, I don't know, solving the world's problems or anything like that. Like I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, do you feel like teaching was a calling, or was it an interest that you pursued?
For a long time when I was even at uni, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I started off, before I did a teaching degree, I did an arts science double degree, because I chose something that was really, really broad, hoping that I would find something that I could go into, because I didn't know. And even since I was a kid, my mum was always saying, you should be a teacher, because I like to teach things and I was good with little kids. And I had a lot of neighbors where I grew up that were younger than me, but I'll take care of them and that sort of stuff. And she was always saying, you should be a teacher. And I'm like, no, it's not what I want to do. They don't get paid enough kind of thing. It's like, I wanted to make heaps of money. Like I knew a vet would make a lot of money, and I loved animals. So I was always wanting to work with animals. And I was like, on the science side of thing, I started doing environmental science was my major. And I was like, I could be like a park ranger or something like that. Or I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And about a year and a half through the 4-year degree, I was like, you know what, mum's right. I should be a teacher, work with kids. It's a good job. I think it'll be really rewarding.
Moms
I continued I continued my degree. So I've got a bachelor in arts and a bachelor in science. And then I did a postgraduate diploma of primary education, and I finished that. So
how many years was that?
And I became a teacher. All up, it was 5. So 4 for arts science, and it was only the 1 year for the postgrad.
Nice. That's really cool. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear you haven't had to give up on any goals. Do you think, like humanity, do you think we have a culture of putting false goals in our kids that they have to give up, or do you think, or would you say most people get to reach their goals?
Um, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag. It kind of depends on the personalities of people. Like, I think it's good to have a big goal, something that you want to strive towards, especially for kids. Like, I want to grow up and I want to be this kind of thing. But I think it's hard to set major goals like that without stepping stones. And I think you have to have little goals along the way to get that. So if you want to grow up and you want to be a vet, for instance, it's like, well, I have to get the marks to do this subject and get good marks in that subject to do this. And then before you get into it, and if you make it too big, it can become overwhelming. And I think for especially, studying and stuff like that. But if you just have a goal, it's like, okay, in this test, this is the mark I'm going to aim for, and I'm going to study and I'm going to work towards that. It's going to make it less overwhelming.
Yeah, I agree. I think mindset is really important. I also think that, like, I think we can set our kids up to have that mindset, and like it's a because I think, I mean, I grew up on sports. I don't know about you, so like there was
I love my sports.
there was always something to, like, if I was on the soccer team, I wanted to be the fastest, or if I anything. There's always like being goal driven. I'm nervous about this generation that's going to grow up a lot more online, but like luckily there's still, I don't think a lot of parents realize how goal driven a lot of games are. Like video games, right?
Yeah.
Like here you are, you're a shiny hunter, like to to the outside looking in. If you told someone, like, at face value, if you try to explain what your content was, like whether you're doing like Masuda, encounter, resets, like whatever it is, if you're trying to explain that from the outside looking in, people would be like, well, what are you like actually doing? But but for that thing that I like feel like people need at a really core level, you fulfill that, like, I'm achieving this really hard goal that hardly anyone that has done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I don't think a lot of parents these days can realize like the level of achievements there are to help empower kids, like, through, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just that case of like, you're working really hard towards something and you're putting that commitment and that dedication into it, and then you achieve something is really cool. Like, even if that is shiny hunting, or if that's achieving a rank in a certain game or something like that, to like just putting your heart into something and then achieving it is really fulfilling.
So do you think, I think that's something about the generation before us that is a little different than the generations to come, but it might shift back later, who knows? But right now, there's a whole lot of culture out there that would drive people to pursue goals that don't have like that aren't fruitful, I guess. Because like if I were to be, if I'm playing the devil's advocate, I'm like some old boomer like talking to you, like, why did you just spend hours like riding around in circle hatching these eggs, or why did you just keep like, at the end of the day, like, what can you do with that? You can't go and buy a house with that. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do these things. Do you think it's like what's the
But like, not everything needs to have a prize at the end of it. There's so many things that you can do just because you enjoy doing it. And as long as you're not hurting anyone, what does that matter? Like, you could say the same thing if I'm thinking of like what old people like to do. It's like, oh, well, you're playing lawn bowls or something like that. Like, yeah, you played lawn bowls and you won the game. Good job. Did you change the world? Obviously not, but you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You're chatting with your friends and stuff like that. Like, not everything needs to have some sort of end goal. And if instead of playing lawn bowls, I'm running around in circles trying to get a shiny Pokemon, like, if that's going to make me happy, I'm talking to friends along the way and, not hurting anyone, then I think you can do what you want to do as long as you're not hurting anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope, I really hope anyone who like watches this or like, sees us as like content creators can like realize that like you have to have like that, there's that sweet spot, you got to pursue, you got to do your thing, pursue your goals, but you got to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do the thing. Yeah. And I think that's something.
I think at the end of the day, content creation is all around entertainment. So people watch me for entertainment and they're enjoying that, right? Just like anyone would go watch a movie or a TV show or something like that. So when I've tried to explain what I do to people that have no idea, they sort of like, oh, you play video games and people give you money. And it's like, well, it's not quite like that. But if you boil down to it, it's just entertainment. So you're going to, buy a ticket and go to the movies, and that's going to entertain you for a few hours. Then that's the same kind of thing in a way. And then like people kind of understand it a bit more. It's like, oh, it's just like watching a movie, but you're watching me play video games or something like that. Like that's entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it really is hard to explain that to people.
Someone called me an influencer once, and I was like, no. Content creator. I'm not an influencer. It makes me sound like an Instagram model or something like that.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's great. All right, man. That's level 5. You're doing great. I really like this conversation so far.
I'm glad you're keeping count because I have no idea.
Well,
just keep answering questions until you stop asking.
Sometimes I'm like got my notes right here. Like sometimes I like look down and like, wait, did we do that yet? Like, did I? Because I kind of like I gotta change the course every once in a while depending on how the conversation's going. But,
yeah.
But yeah,
you've got a harder job. It's easy for me.
No, I mean, sometimes I think being personal and honest is pretty hard. So I think not a whole lot of people can do that. I'm hiding behind the questions. So, but that is level 5. Congratulations, you made it. We are about to do level 6 and level 7. But before we go on to level 6, I want to take a second to introduce our a sub challenge. And just to congratulate you guys, if you've made it this far, tagging along with Metalfear, if you've been along for the journey, I hope you guys really enjoyed this content. If you have, make sure you go over to twitch.tv/Metalfear4. Is that right, Metalfear? Yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
Metalfear4.
And the next time they're live after this video, if you type in chat, I made it to level 6. Metalfear will hit me up. I will gift you a sub, or I will gift your friend a sub. One way or another, one free gifted sub to Metalfear's chat on me. Just let him know, and he'll let me know, and we'll get it done. And I really appreciate you guys for watching this far and tagging along. But
you're the cutest emotes on Twitch.
Yeah,
that's what I always say.
And then so we got 2 more questions. You ready, man? Yeah,
let's do it.
Level 6. So far, we've been talking a whole lot about teaching and influencing the world, and content creating the world.
Influencing the world.
But I wanted to take a second to maybe step away from that, even though I think all that is like super important, really, really important. So I'm gonna actually ask you a philosophy question. Okay.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. So
I've never been very good at philosophy.
Well,
I'm too simple-minded, I feel.
Well, this one, you know what? Sometimes that is the philosophy. You know what I mean? So
all right.
You have a ship. A man makes the ship from his own hands, and it's got all this wood and everything in the ship, and it lasts over a whole bunch of years. But every once in a while, something happens to the ship, and you have to he has to repair the ship, so he has to take a broken board out and put a new board in. As the years pass, he's eventually replaced every single piece of the ship. Is that the original ship?
Is that the original ship? Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But I don't know how to explain it.
So continue. It keeps going. Okay. One day he decides to take all the scraps that he's saved from all the original wood and make that into a ship.
Okay, so it's a shitty little ship that's all broken. Yeah.
Is that the original ship?
Is that the original? So I can only have one original ship.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, well, if I'm having 2 ships, I guess the shitty one is the original ship then.
Okay. How come?
Yeah. Because it's using the original pieces. But because otherwise, what? Oh, this is a good question. It's a good question, but I also hate it. Yeah, I don't know. What's the philosophy behind this? Does this mean I'm a certain kind of person?
Oh no, I
Am I a
think
sentimental person?
yeah. I mean that's part of. I think it does because I think that ends up being the qualifier is what's the most sentimental because he's actually spent the most time on the other ship, the big ship, right?
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
The real ship was the one that we had in our hearts the whole time. The friendships we made along the way.
yeah. Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Oh, now
Um,
that you word it like that, ooh, I don't know.
so I recently, are you a Marvel fan at all?
Not overly, but like I'll watch them, but I'm not all that into it. I'll watch them.
So like one of the like Marvel movies is kind of like ends up being actually it's like one of the Marvel like the little side things they've done lately on Disney Plus and whatever.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with the character Vision?
Is that
like-
the purple dude?
Yeah, he's got the stone on his forehead and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So eventually all this like weird time warping stuff happens, right? And so you have the original piece of Vision that the government seizes and makes their own copy of as like a like instrument of like as like a war piece, a piece of war or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when the reality shift, the other one comes alive as well. So like you now have two Visions and they're both like, but which one's the real Vision? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that's like a modern way that they're like using it, and it's got me thinking a whole lot about just like perspective and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I guess it's kind of if you're talking about the physical ship, like the physical is the old shitty one. But if you're talking about the project, it's the new one.
Yeah.
The project of what you've built.
I always default to I just ask the owner.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. Probably say both.
Yeah, he probably loves both of them. Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a cool little philosophy. I just wanted to like to get a break from that. I don't really have any follow-ups past that. I just wanted to hear how you process through it as an educated man.
That was cool.
But okay, that is the 6th level. Congratulations, Metalfear. We are on the 7th level. This is a reoccurring question for season 1. I'm asking everyone this because I think it's a good, well-rounded question. And I'm just really curious to see how everyone's answer might differ. So it kind of goes, the depth is actually a little up to you. I've had a little bit of like, oh, this is a no-brainer. I've had a little bit of, oh, that's hard kind of stuff. So, but here it is, level 7. What is a change in the world you would like to see, but aren't sure you have the power to implement?
Change in the world I want to see, but don't have the power to implement. I mean, looking at like global scale things like poverty and pollution and global warming and all that sort of stuff, like I feel like I don't have any power to change any of that as much as I would like to. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the means to be able to do that. That's all really important. I actually had a conversation with my Twitch stream last night because we were talking about what Mr. Beast and Mark Rober are doing at the moment with the Team C's thing.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I love that. I think, as I've said, I'm a massive animal lover. So anytime, we can do anything to help animals, I'm all in for. Even like my cats we got from rescue shelters and stuff like that. Like just want to do what I can in that regard. But I think that project that they're doing is incredible. I think that's a really awesome place to put a lot of time and effort and money into. There was a documentary I saw on Netflix a little while ago, and it's just like unfathomable how much pollution is actually in the ocean right now that we don't know about, and the effect that that's having on not only wildlife but also humans as well, because the wildlife, like the fish, eat the plastics, and then that gets into human diet and stuff like that. So I'm really interested into following along with the Team Siege thing. I only learned about it literally yesterday, but it's been on my mind a lot the last 2 days, because I think that's really important, and I think a lot of people don't understand how it is, because it's also rubbish in the middle of the ocean. Who cares? But I think it's a huge impact, and that's something that I would love to follow along with and see how that goes. And if I had Mr. Beast money, I'd be all over it as well.
Well, that's good to hear.
I think that's really cool. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Um,
It's hard to sort of dwindle that down into one thing, into what I want to do. But in the forefront of my mind, if I had Mr. Beast money, what would I put it towards? It would be animals and children. How can I help the animals and the children of the world?
Yeah. I guess you could make the children pick up all the trash. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, through education, right? And I've done that. I've done stuff at school because my school is not too far from the beach. So the kids understand what that is like. And if we say, well, we're polluting and that's going through into the ocean, like it can see that that's something real for them. Whereas, if we lived in the middle of fuck Australia where you're not near the ocean, you might not connect to that as much. And I think for kids, you need to have that real world explanation. They need to understand it and see it and live it. And if they walk down the beach and they see rubbish, well, they're like, well, this doesn't look very nice. What can I do about it? And you can give them, tools to help that and to fix that. But you're right that like if we can educate the kids, that's going to in turn hopefully make the world a better place. And that's why teaching is such a powerful job.
Oh, it really is, man. It really, really is. I meant to say this earlier, but like, so now because of everything that's happened in Oklahoma with public education, now Oklahoma public educators are the lowest paid teachers in America. So like, you can go to school here and raise, you can teach teachers here, and then like they'll go to college and university here, and then they just leave. Like they go somewhere else, like, right? And like, like you wouldn't blame them. But that ends up leading up to like multiple world problems, like you're talking about. Like, I think pollution really is a weird thing, and like I understand why it's like, I guess even a bigger hand that's tied behind your back on this one is like you could teach all the kids in Australia to not litter in Australia. Right, you could solve the litter problem in Australia. There's just countries out there that don't have that kind of like restriction and awareness. Like, and you got just companies just like pushing that litter out into whatever rivers near them. You know what I mean? And there's no restrictions on it or anything like that.
No.
Have you ever watched? Oh no, yeah, it's so sad. Have you? There's a documentary on Netflix, the Zac Efron one. Have you watched that one?
No. What's it called?
Oh, let me Google it really quick. It's so good because he explores all these different countries and like places that he's never been before, just to see how like life is so different than it is in America, and like how focuses are so different in America. And it's called Down to Earth with Zac Efron. And
okay,
I would suggest it because Zac Efron's just kind of like a goof. Like he's not he's bringing a friend with him who's like very educated in the process. He's just like the celebrity face behind it, but he also like it's cool watching him learn things. And they end up going to this country where like I think it was somewhere in France if I remember, but this whole like I can't remember what you call the things that the ships come into and then leave, like bay like or harbor or something like that. Yeah. This whole thing was like renowned for just having all this like litter in it, like all these old things they used to have on ships that were like important, like old crates and tires and just crazy things. And like somehow in like they got the right legislation in place, the whole community agreed on it, and they cleaned it all out, and now it's like it's like regaining wildlife, like fish are coming back in, like like that's all so kinds of stuff is like coming back in. And so it's like even these like it's amazing to think like again, man, this just goes back, we were just talking about I don't remember if this was in part of the interview or the pre-interview, talking about how like you just don't understand how people can like just not care, right? But like and then I think another more even more astounding part is like how people just like stop caring, like when they give up, right? And I think that's pretty. I think
it's too easy to give up sometimes, isn't it? The hard, like even just little things, like if you see rubbish on the ground when you're going for a walk, the hard thing to do is to stop and pick it up and carry it to a bin. It's so easy just to walk past. 99% of people are going to just walk past because it's the easy thing to do.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
it's sad. But I guess maybe like one more follow up on this would be like, I don't know. I believe that you're going to be a successful content creator. Do I mean, you mentioned like, you know, if you had the Mr. Beast money that you're going to do this thing. Like, do you think that's something you can implement at a smaller level than a Mr. Beast level? Like, as like, you know, when you get partner, which you will, believe it, and like say you're, you know, maybe like 1,000 views on your streams, right? Like like 1,000 chatters. I mean, like it at one time, not throughout the whole thing, but 1,000. Like you could turn it on, and in that hour, you're gonna have 1,000 viewers. Do you think there's something you could do about it at that level?
I think there definitely is. Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely something I would like to aspire to do. But I think, without trying to be selfish, but you have to take care of yourself first, right? Like I'm not going to give all my money to charity when I've got a mortgage and I've got, you know, people that depend on me.
Yeah. Well, all your money wouldn't fix the problem anyways. You know what I mean?
No, well, exactly. That's it's just a never-ending thing. Yeah, but it's definitely something that I would like us to aspire to do. And, you know, I often have the conversation with people like, oh, if I won the lottery, what would I do with all the money kind of thing? Yeah. And then, you know, that's right up there for what I would like to do is support animal shelters and yeah, anything I can to help out kids as well with educational supplies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a grand and noble cause, man. I think you're living a really unique life that has a lot of power behind your efforts. Something we were talking about earlier. Like I think your efforts are really important. So I hope you keep doing what you're doing, man. You're a cool guy.
It's something I need to do more of. Like there's a lot of people that even at my level, a lot smaller, that are doing charity streams and stuff like that I haven't quite gotten into yet. But always room for improvement. Yeah. Always things to work on.
It's really fulfilling. I mean, my community is tiny. We do this little charity stream, and you get to do all this wacky, zany stuff if they like help out. It feels really good. So you'll be great at it. Once you start doing it, you'll be great at it. I promise.
Yeah. I think it's also good as well to do stuff that's not necessarily in the spotlight. They're like you see on TikTok and videos, and they're doing something nice just because it's being filmed. But it's important to do stuff that's not in the public eye as well, just to do it because you want to help out. And I think that's important as well. Sometimes it's almost like you second guess when you see videos like that now, or at least I do. It's like you see it, and it's like, oh, I gave money to a homeless person. It's like, you know, off stream, you're going to do something like that, or you're only doing it because you're making 10 times that on the video views anyway, right? Kind of thing. And it's just very disingenuous.
Right. Yeah, so, man. That's a whole nother topic in itself. If we had more time, I'd love to get in that. Like, gosh, sensing authenticity in streamers is like, I think that's such a unique thing. Maybe the next time we do this, we can talk about that, because I think that's like, I think about that all the time. But man,
14 levels alone, huh?
But congratulations, man. That's the 7th level. You did it.
Let's go.
You did great, man. What a good conversation. I hope you really enjoyed this time, because I really did. It
was fun.
Talking a lot. Metal, just go ahead, take a second, tell us what you got coming up. You got any community stuff, or if you got, let us know where we can catch you. You mentioned all your platforms. Tell us all the tags and everything, and I'll put them down in the description below so they can click on them and everything like that. What you got going? So
it's Metalfear4 on all socials: Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. You can use code METAL when buying G Fuel as well. Recent G Fuel sponsor. You can use code Metalfear4 if you're buying an Oodie as well. We haven't got any community events coming up at the moment because obviously the new games are coming out, but I stream 5 days a week on Twitch. So if you want to check out the new games or shiny hunting or anything like that, check me out. It's always good times.
Yeah, and partner push, right?
Yeah, and partner push, that's right. So I applied a couple of weeks ago, so I got denied, which everyone gets denied the first time anyway, but I can reapply again in about a week and a half for my second time. So all right. Numbers are looking good. Hopefully we can keep it up and get that check mark. Yeah, dude, you'll get it. I know you will. Yeah. I know you will. But man, thank you so much. All we got left is saying bye. So bye, YouTube. Cool. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Subscribe. Metal. Hey, yes. I like that. They should follow me. Check you out. Check you out as well. You're the one doing all the work. Oh, thanks, man.